so if you could speak a little bit about how you look for people to work in your office here in Berkeley. So like, where do you, if you have a job, where do you post it? And if the job is in, if your agency is looking for an employee in India, are you recruiting specifically in India, or is there ever the possibility that you're hiring somebody from North America to go to India? So if you could kind of speak to that, the nuances of that.
It's an interesting example you gave. Yes, okay, so for our Berkeley office, and actually, I say our Berkeley office, but two of the staff that when I say that one of them is in Nevada and one of them is in British Columbia. So, so we have even within our U.S. and Canada program in our office, we're spread out a bit. We usually, when we have jobs to advertise, we often will send them out to allied organizations, to our networks. Often doing the same sorts of searches and looking for the types of people that Sheila was just describing. So that's an example of where if you're, connected to an organization doing this type of field, not necessarily even just recycling, but in these types of issues, then that's a way to get connected to those types of job opportunities, probably earlier than it might end up on Craigslist. But so we'll send out pretty broadly to people we know to see if there are if there are people who are interested early on, and then we usually do I think, or maybe we always do a post on Craigslist, but it's it helps, I think, if you're already connected to someone. So that's where networking is really important. I think we've posted on Idealist as well in the past. We haven't had a job search in a while. This is why I'm slow to respond to this question. We will have a job opening coming up pretty soon, actually. That'll be on communications work, mostly in the U.S. and Canada, and somewhat internationally. So it'll be either a half or full-time position for at least a year, and hopefully longer. And then, we're not, because you can guess, because our offices are sort of all over the place, we're actually often fairly open to people being in other places, although we prefer to be with someone else at least, because it's much easier, we've found, to be working at least with one other person nearby. We've just recently hired globally, for example, our new Asia Regional Coordinator was just hired in the last 6 months, and when we did that job search, we put it out broadly within our network. We had someone helping who, as a recruiter, to go to work their international connections, and we were hoping for someone to be in the Philippines, but we were open to anybody in the Asian, the entire region of Asia, to apply for that position. So we are pretty open to the different locations, and we have had people move in order to work for us when we weren't able to pay for an employee, like the salary of someone in the U.S. We have had people move to other countries in order to work for us, to be paid what it is to work in India, actually, because they wanted to work for the organization that much. And it was the right opportunity for that person at that time. And I think the other, related to that, we try to benchmark our salaries in different countries to similar organizations. It's not, the idea is not, because we work in other countries, certainly people they get paid according to the cost of living, so that means in the U.S. you might get paid more, or you do get paid more than someone in one of our other offices, but it's commensurate to the cost of living. And we try to pay, on the high side in other countries as well, primarily, because it's important. So, as a global organization.
Excellent. Now, Martin, if you could speak to